we go, Aces AFL Show. Tom Papley and the Prancing Pony joining us. And we've got the Daisy Cup, Collingwood versus Blues. It's a cracker. Oh, I'll tune into... Jesus. Tune into... Venom, go on the Blues. Welcome back, everyone. It's the Aces AFL Show, and we're a man down. We've lost a soldier. It's just me and Daisy Thomas, the number one commentator in the business, the most electrifying small forward, mid, whatever you want him to be on game day. Mate, we've lost Wall.
What's happened?
I thought he was probably the mentally toughest and most professional. He would look after his diet probably better than all of us, but we've lost him. He has, I don't know what kind of flu, but he's down and hard, and he's the reason we couldn't get a few things done the last few days. So we just want to wish him. We're going to wish him all the best.
Well, when I realised I was coming in here today to find and play a game of Where's Wally, I didn't realise this was what was going on. And you guys, I have it on good authority after being doorstopped 55 times by people on Sunday. Where's Tommy? Where's Wall? I was walking around the MCG, couldn't see him anywhere. Wanted to get involved with the pod. You guys didn't show.
We need to hit that straight on the head. It was hard to. We couldn't really. It was touch and go, but there's been a lot of illness in the camp. Cameraman. And then Wall 50-50. So the punishment is still yet to be done. And we're not going to hide away from it.
Wall was sick. The cameraman was sick.
Yeah. And I was fresh as a daisy.
Oh. So you went and did it. Well, that's good then.
I didn't do it. I needed the crew to come with me to film it. So we've got to do it again, Daisy. That's what I'm saying, which is a pain in the ass.
So you didn't do it?
No, we didn't get it done.
Wow. So you were fine though?
Oh, well, I was...
I haven't listened to the backtrack.
Look, we're going to get it done. There's a couple of games coming up, but geez, these punishments are mounting up. And it's just reason, just on that, we do apologise. We're going to get these done. It probably needs to be something more serious now. But yeah, Wal, we're thinking of you. And I was thinking, do we call him in later? He's seriously sick. I spoke to him before because I was like, how sick are you? He's very unwell at the moment. So
bit of influenza, Or
there's something going on.
Top and bottom.
It's that time of the year, though. It is starting to get very fresh. Let's talk about the Propeller. Do you think maybe he's a bit sick because of the way he's going on the Propeller?
I was feeling sick after the Propeller watching along Friday night. 28 points up the Bulldogs, and you and I were having a good discussion. You were saying to you, bat the Dogs 1-39, they're 230, and I thought, I reckon they can win by more than that. And at 28 points, I was sitting there and we were having a little side text. I was like, please tell me I told you.
Yeah, I know. I started to go, Daisy, you are the man.
next minute. Oh, poor.
Next minute, I sent you the 1-39. Can you believe it? You lost by, a point and a half.
So I picked my own line. So the line actually went up at 8.5 and the winning margin was 8. Like, the algorithm is incredible.
PointsBet just get it. Like, they just get it spot on. It's crazy how the PointsBet traders get it right, like next to, what it is.
That was to the point, half a point.
I know. It's crazy. I don't know how they do it, but
your leg went well though.
No, yeah. So
Mahayachek.
And he's 150 at 2 goals at halftime, and they're down. They're down to West. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. And I was like, if they're gonna come back and win, he'll kick one. Didn't kick another goal.
He had the little snap around the corner, then gave one off.
No, that kills you. That kills you. But because you had already gone down, it doesn't hurt as much because we couldn't win. I was like, I'm going to lose. It needs to be the same week someone else is losing. So
when Brody had 2, I was calling that game for the M's, and I'm sitting there, and every time the ball went inside, I was like, please don't bark it. Please don't. It's amazing how much you cheer for every other leg to get back.
Over,
they were good though, the Eagles.
Yeah,
a little bit of a shout out.
Yeah, big shout out. I reckon they're starting to get a bit of a game plan together, and it's hard work down the bottom there, but at least their effort's up, and it's they might upset a couple of teams later in the year. Keep your eye out on the Eagles. I reckon. The Pies they
were humming.
Well, they're the best side in the competition. So to be up at half time, that was unbelievable.
I love the fact that Minnie McQualter tried a few things, put some players. Harley Reid spent some time on Nick Dacos, but also Craig McRae at the end. We were asking Pat Lipinski, like, Lippo, what is Fly going to do? What's he going to be like in the post-match? Because I reckon back in the Malthouse era, it would have been, you blokes have won by 20, bloody, full rant and rave. And he goes, no, I think he'll be really delighted that we just get the win. He understands the value of what playing is and winning. Yeah, so it's such a level-headed approach. So
it'd be great to have a coach like that. We used to win by 50 points and cough an absolute spray because of how bad we played in the last 15 minutes.
We had different types of wins, apparently. Yes. You can have a good win and a bad win and then a different coloured win.
We would review some wins like a really bad loss because we didn't get enough, of the KPIs that we measure ourselves on.
Good, excellence and high KPIs is a good thing, but every now and then you go, right, too much.
Speaking of Lipper, mate, remember when you picked him and he cost the Propeller? I think he's kicked 2 goals 3 out of the last 4 weeks. It's probably someone that has done what we thought he would do earlier in the year, but he's kicking goals as a wingman half forward. So keep your eyes on him. I was going to put him in the Propeller, but I thought, he's kicked a few the last few weeks. Then he kicks another 2. Anyway, we keep moving. Last week we had, actually, I'll start with YouTube comments. We have a world record of 31 comments.
Keep them coming.
This is amazing, and everyone that tunes in, we really appreciate your support. I love reading them. There's positive feedback. There's questions. There's punishments. A lot of them about Woll's haircut. They want Woll to do something with his hair.
They want the pig back. That was a common theme. Bring back the pig for a special episode.
So the pig was going to join us today, and yes, we are trying to get the pig back on. He's a fiery, so we can't get him on. That's why he couldn't do the pod this week.
Down outside. Today's the day.
Yeah, there wouldn't be many fires to put out today, but he is the reason why we couldn't get him on, because he has that new gig. So a lot of people don't know that, but we're trying to get the pig on, and we're trying to get him back as much as we can. So just maybe the business end. He is a big time player, and he's got the medal around his neck like you. So we'll try to get him for finals. But there's a lot of people going, bring the pig back. Where's the pig? The other one was, and we'll ask a couple of your questions at the end, guys, but one was the Insta poll on Wildcard. Do you know what it was?
50-50.
50-50. So half the people love it, half the people hate it.
And that's probably the general consensus of where it really lies. And if you're half the people that liked it, I assume they're the teams that are in the 8 from that sort of bottom chance that would be having to play. And the other would be your sides 9 through 10 who are not really or any chance to feature. We're talking your Ports, your Carltons, your Sydney, your Essendons, potentially down to your Melbourne and St Kildas. But that's the love of it.
I know.
The only issue would be if one of them came in and then just got absolutely smoked.
Yeah.
But again, you can only give yourself a chance.
There's I think Matty Richardson, he hates it. I saw him commenting on it. There was a few other people, but I saw a couple of comments, but the people that don't like it. They really don't like it.
They're either in or they're out.
They're really out.
They're not on the fence. Seeing here, so Woll's out. You brought 2 guests to the table.
We have 2 guests, and they're the most exciting to watch at the moment. We might as well tell everyone because they'll see them on the thumbnails, but we have Tom Papley joining us, who I've got plenty of questions about because you covered that game.
Need to ask him about the surface.
And then the Prancing Pony is joining the podcast.
What, Toby Pink?
No.
Pink Pony Club?
Paddy Voss from Fremantle, the big Prancing Pony. He's joining us. And I reckon those 2, I'd love to see them 2 going head-to-head this weekend. We've never had 2 guests that are playing each other this weekend join us on the AFL show. So it's a first for us, and we hope everyone watching enjoys this one.
We need to put a few things to them.
Oh, we've got a few. In fact, I think we might even have Tommy Papley on the line in a second. Before we go to Paps, I just want to ask you one more thing. There's been a lot of talk about the SCG surface. We'll ask Tommy about it. I reckon he might even like it. Being a small forward, you can turn your defender inside out. But did you you covered the game. Is it that much of a concern?
If the entirety of the ground was that bad, I think you could cop it because then it's just a wet, slippery night. When it gets to half forward and the ground is then pristine, what it's like, when you're running and you're happy to change direction, you're backing in the surface, and then you get to an area of the ground where you can't. And the amount of people that were falling over off screen, like setting up a lead, going and change direction, going, literally arse up.
We used to call them penguins.
Once off you go.
That's what Rossi used to go, have a look at you. Fucking penguins out there. I used to slide all the time because I'd have nothing under your footing. And he goes, you're a penguin.
But so that used to be the old, don't fall over. Have you got the long stops in? Well, I can't wear them anymore, so I'm probably falling over. So the AFL wants a little bit of everything at the minute. For the players, I just don't want any injuries. If it means if you're going to cop a cut to the leg or you're going to do an ACL, bring back the stops, have the brand new steel studs so they're not sharp. The rounded ones, not the pointy ones like rugby league.
They're hard to wear though under your feet. Like I think I might have worn it. We used to wear them when I played, and you would have had them, but they hurt your feet. You don't train in them.
Yeah,
you only wear them when it's really wet and winter.
Well, I had the old Adidas Copa Mundies, and they were as good as.
I had the same ones.
The World Cup, they were as comfy as any sort of.
Actually, you would have only played on the G, mate. You wouldn't have played on all these other surfaces.
But I was so terrified of falling over that I'd wear the moulds in the warm up, and if it was a little bit shifty, no chance. Yeah, because Mick Moldhouse would threaten to come down, rip you off.
Oh, coaches hate when you slip over. Anyway, man down. Well, we've got a man on the line. It's Tommy Papley joining us. I'm excited for this. Paps, how are you, mate?
Hey, boys. How are we? Good to be here.
Oh, very good, mate. We've got to kick things straight off. You're back in the side. It's great to see, and you go straight up to Sam Darcy and say, come here, big boy. How was that moment?
Yeah, look, it wasn't really planned, but we obviously were going down the paddo end, and he was walking straight past. I was like, "Oh, stuff it, here we go." I nearly hit him in the groin area. He was that tall, but then he threw me. Then he threw me like a rag doll and like a little doll. So it was quite funny. Libba and Bond found it pretty funny. They were just laughing at me. They were expecting it, I think.
Oh, that is brilliant. Well, we've got a couple of challenges for you later on, but I got one more moment that I loved. It was a clip that went viral. It was you, and I thought, look, I'll speak on behalf of myself. The umpiring, it's been a bit inconsistent. It was a great rundown tackle. It probably should have been holding the ball. The umpire gave a free kick, and you looked at him and you held back your words, and it was very funny. And then you manned the mark, and then you realised your finger had been popped out. Can you just break that one down to us? Because that was one of my favourite memories from last week.
I reckon the old man probably would have actually said it and told him to go, you know where. But I had sort of matured a bit and didn't really say it, but he knew what I wanted to say. It would have been interesting. I did look up at the vision. I sort of elbowed him in the head, which was unfortunate, but would have been interesting if I did get him holding the ball, because I wasn't giving up a goal 20 metres out. I'll tell you that much with my finger out.
The finger was in a lot of trouble. How'd you go putting that back in? Because it was, I saw you were carrying on afterwards. You were waving it around going, someone pop this back in for me. But yeah, I just love that little moment you had in the forward pocket.
Yeah, it was good. As you know me, Tommy, I'm a pretty emotional and sort of man. I carry on a lot, whether it's a goal or an injury. I'm always carrying on somewhere. So a bit of carry on, but got it back in.
Did the boys say anything about you going to Darcy and then he kicked the goal 15 seconds later? There's a bit of, don't poke the bear, Tom, what have you done?
Nah, well, then he kicked the second one and I'm going, what have I done here? And then he's kicked this one in the, I don't even know how that's legal to be able to do it in the pocket. And then I think after that, I think Malikan did pretty well. We did pretty well to stop him. But yeah, geez, he's an amazing talent, isn't he?
He is an amazing talent, and so is the Prancing Pony. There's a guy that you're coming up against this week. He might celebrate a little bit harder than you. We've got a little challenge for you for you and Vossy this week. You're playing the Dockers. We want a little bit of a sally off. We want to see who can celebrate harder this week when you do kick a goal. So we'd like two things. Me and Daisy were discussing, instead of Sam Darcy this week, we think you should go up to Vossy and maybe just give him a little bit of a how you going. And if it's not him, maybe Tracy. So that's our first dare. We need to poke the bear there. But also we want to see how many high fives you can get in a row after a goal. So I'm just going to leave that with you, mate. What is your current record, you reckon?
I reckon the one I kicked on the weekend, I got to about 5 or 6. Let's try and get 10.
Oh, that's
we
brilliant.
want a little counter going up, just ding, ding, ding as you fly around the forward pocket there.
We need a counter, I reckon. We'll see how we go. Hopefully I kick one, but geez, I reckon if I did the same thing to what I did to Darcy to Voss, he'd probably actually punch me in the head. So I might have to be careful there.
You're up in Sydney. How's the weather? It's reported to be pissing down.
Yeah, as you can see, I'm inside, but I'm pretty cozy. It's pissing down all day yesterday and today. We weren't on the SCG today, so just down the lakeside, but hopefully she's all system go on Sunday.
What did you make of that forward half of the ground, that Paddington end that you went to in the first term? It was a bit shifty, a lot of talk about it.
To be honest, I actually didn't notice the ground much when I was actually playing until after the game. I was like, geez, there's a fair bit going on here and boys slipping over everywhere. I actually don't mind it as a small fella, bloke slipping over, because I can just pick up the crumbs and things like that, so it's all right for me.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. That's a bit like the NFL. They can't defend the defenders when you're just selling the candy shop. Just back to the celebration. What would you prefer, a set shot or one on the run where you've got to run to the bench afterwards? What's the perfect goal for you to get these 10 high fives in a row?
Probably goal on the Paddington end, crumbing to the right, and then I've got to go back round to the bench, so then I've got to go through all the boys.
I reckon we even extrapolate it. We'll include crowd participation. So if you run in Paddington End, Snaggy, past the crowd all the way back, wrap around 50, get all the boys, plus your own bench as well. I think that's a nice way to juice it up.
Yeah, geez, I reckon I'd even call that carrying on. That's coming a lot from me.
Mate, one serious one for me. Do you think you can mount a charge to sneak into the 8? You got all the troops back, it feels like. We forgot how good half you blokes were, and now that you're all back, do you think you can sneak into the 8 and make a difference in finals?
I think now we've got our troops back, I think we'll probably have to win every single game, but you can see sort of when everyone's sort of back, we obviously played a lot together that whole group probably since COVID. We played like 150 games actually together, so you just know just what they do before they even get the ball, and it does help a lot when you play together. And I think the experienced guys, a bit of positive out of that. I think Corey Warner and those guys are coming well, but hopefully we can keep charging towards the finals. Bulldogs are very good on the weekend, but I thought we played very well and a bit stiff not to win in the end. Both teams played well.
I've had 2 Friday night games with you guys involved up there, and both times your boy Isaac Heaney has taken the absolute P15S. Tell me, and if you can, explain it to me, why he's so bloody good.
He does work bloody hard and trains hard, but I think he's just like one of those blokes that just stands up in the big moments, kicks straight, which half us can't do. But yeah, he's just a amazing player. He's on the ground, he can mark it, he can run forward, runs back. He's an amazing player, and it's been a pleasure to watch over the last couple of years for sure.
You go to the goal kicking, you just mentioned it. What is it, you reckon? Because everyone practices. Is it just the yips at the moment? Are you practicing a little bit more? It's always Sydney's always been a professional, hard-nosed kind of pro team, efforts through the roof, and the polish is just letting you down. Are you working on that at training now?
Yeah, we are, working on it for sure, but I reckon half it's mental, or probably 3/4 of it, to be honest. We just got to go back and put it through the sticks. So,
how's your extracurricular activities? You're a big fan, enthusiast of the horse racing. What have you got? You got any good ones at the minute?
Yeah, I love me racing. As most would know, I had Getafix last Wednesday that won by 6 lengths at Randwick, which was nice. Right. Just midweek, but hopefully go to Saturday grade next start and see how we go. He's always showed a bit, but he put it all together on Wednesday, and we had J-Mac on, so I think that's a special treatment.
Have you still got your podcast?
Yeah, still got a podcast. Just do that with Dicko, the early crow pod, and a bit of fun on Mondays, and just send out a few tips on the Saturday, and we're going all right, which is good.
I love it, mate. Well, that's all we've got for you. As I said, I want to just remind you, the High Five Challenge, and also get into Vossy or Big Tracy before the bounce this week. It's a little dare from me and Daisy to you. But, mate, in all seriousness, we just love seeing you back. I love when you celebrate. You make me laugh when I watch the game, and you're so skilled. It's good to see you and all the boys back, and we wish you all the best for the rest of the year, and thanks so much for joining us.
Cheers, boys.
Oh, how good's that? I love him. He's just one of the guys that you just want him to continue playing. It was sad to see him, injured for a bit there, but you can see how much energy he brings to the group. I also loved your question about Darcy kicking the first 2. He was probably going, what have I done?
I envisage him kicking a goal off hands, as he says, like on the goal line, toe poke it in, and then going to high five the crowd, and then with the surface, going arse up like on the AstroTurf or something. So we'll count that as an extra high five.
He really gets in. He's like, if you see him, he goes bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, it's aggressive.
It's aggressive. And, man, he blows his cheeks out and he's got the chest out.
That's a real danger game for free. I know we'll touch on that later. But
PointsBet's got him $1.64, Sydney. I thought that was more of a $1.90 operation. Is that because of how bad, maybe that was a last week's scare the first 3 quarters? I don't know. It was interesting.
There has to be something in it, but Freo are flying, and hang on a minute.
Well, we spoke about what Pappers might go up to one of the big boys at Freo. We've got, as I said, we've got that Prancing Pony joining us right now. We've got Vossy on the line. Vossy, how are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Sorry, I jumped on a bit early.
You're trying to high-five your camera there. Look at him just wobbling the camera a bit. We'll update you where we've been. We've just had Tom Papley on the line. We obviously got the big game this week at the SCG between you two. And we think you're both the most exciting players in the competition. You guys celebrate harder than anyone. You get the chest out. You both throw your weight around. So we're looking forward to this week. And we've challenged him to go up to you or Tracy at the start of the game and just say, let's go, big boy. What do you think about that?
Well, I actually saw a bit of footage on the weekend. I don't know who he was getting into, but there was a bit of push and shove before the game. So I think he'll be down the other end. We'll see what happens.
He was getting into big Sammy Darcy, and then he kicked the first 2. So if he does come to you, it could be a nice little omen there to get some Vossy drolls early.
Yeah, we kicked the first 2 of the game, I think. So I wouldn't mind if he come to me got on the end of a couple off the back of that.
Now, is it just us, or have you been running around Freo claiming Vossy drolls as well?
No, I haven't heard that one just yet. But we'll see. We'll see if it gets legs.
What about the Prancing Pony? Where'd that one come from? Who gave it to you?
Well, I actually gave it to myself, unfortunately. Jamie Graham, our forwards coach, he sort of gave it to me. He sort of called me in for, like, we do this marking thing, and he reckons I don't jump with one leg in the air, I jump with two legs, and he reckons I look like a pony when I do it. I prance around like a pony and carry on a little bit. And, it must have been an interview after one of the games, and I've just come out with it and said it, and it's, got a few legs, and, she's taken off a little bit.
Now, I'm not sure where you're doing this interview from, but is there any chance you can rest your phone up against something? Because I'm starting to get a little bit seasick. It's like the first time I went and saw the Blair Witch Project.
I felt like I was at Luna Park. You know when you stick on the walls and they spin you around a little bit at Luna Park? Vossy, can you lean that phone up against something? There we go. You get the big prancing pony to sit still. Everyone watching this on YouTube is about to have a fit. There we go. You're back. Now, let's get straight into it. What's your record for high fives? I reckon the one at Gather Round must have been right up there, but what's the most high fives you've had post-goal celebration?
Oh, well, we were talking about this, Tommy, and we've got an under the overs of 12, but I reckon I've got, the Gather Round one would have had to be 7 or 8.
Tommy Papley, we put it to him. We said, if you kick a snagger this weekend, we want a head-to-head and we're going to clip them up so we get the ding-ding-dings going. He reckons 20's probably in the realms of possibility. And if there's any man to break it, I'd be putting all my life and confidence in you.
Yeah, well, I've had a bit of a think about it, and I reckon if I've got a spell coming up, then I've got 4 on the bench, and if I can get me way to the bench, and maybe 4 or 5 on the way to the bench, a few mids. You're getting all the forwards, so there's 5. So, mate, I reckon my under maybe 12. 12
I love that. 12 high fives. Do they have to be on? They can't be the bench,
no,
can they?
I'll accept the bench.
You accept the bench?
As long
as it's aggressive, it has to be a bit of carry on.
And I'll give 5 extra if it's a Sydney player. And we will include the crowd as well.
A Sydney player would be unbelievable. I reckon, and a little bump as well. You get an extra 2 points for a little bump. 5 points if it's Tommy Papley as well.
You must be loving your footy, though. It's a pleasure to watch. You come in and you have been kicking goals, but in big moments. But your side's really starting to play some good footy as well.
Yeah, definitely. And, there is a fair bit of carry on, and we do like to have a bit of fun with the Prancing Pony and all that sort of stuff. But, in all seriousness, I think I've taken my footy to another level this year, along with us as a team. And, we are starting to play some really good footy, which is the main thing. We've got a little fight going around the club. We've won 1 in a row, and we're looking to win 1 in a row at the moment. So there's a few straight bad answers in the media going around that we're not looking too far ahead and that sort of thing. But your footy, it's definitely a lot funner when you're winning, that's for sure.
Oh, there's nothing better when Freo's rocking and rolling. As you know, the town just lights up. 6 in a row. I want to ask you, mate. The first 3 quarters, I would describe it as pooch, but your last quarter was unbelievable. Can we get that last quarter for 4 quarters? And an extension to that question is, what is it? What was the shift at 3-quarter time?
Yeah, there was. It was one of the scrappiest games I've played in. It wasn't pretty at all, but we spoke about yesterday just like the ability just to stay in games and just scrap and fight, and playing 120 minutes and turning the tide late. I don't think that game was ever going to look pretty from the start, the way it was sort of set up and the tactics that were thrown in and that sort of thing. But, I think, that's what we're sort of searching for, and to play 4 quarters of footy and play consistently. So I think hopefully we're getting a few more bodies back coming going forward. So hopefully it looks a bit better, especially this weekend.
Another one of your little small forwards who I love watching is Isaiah Dudley. I got it on pretty good authority, spent some time living with you in the pre-season, and you got him out of his shell. How was that?
Well, he didn't actually live with me. He lived with so I lived with a hostie last year. When you come over, they put you in with a hostie, and I lived with a hostie. And I got along with the hostie pretty well, and we used to chat, and he's a pretty outgoing sort of bloke. And Dud's come over, and he's jumped in with his hostie, and I don't think Dud's opened his mouth for 3 months. So I had to go over there and hold his hand and get him to talk to the hostie. But he's out of there now and with another hostie. So he's going all right, the big fella. It took him a while to come out of his shell, but he's pretty funny.
They do a great job, the hosties, and they certainly help you early days. And the most important thing is they feed you, mate. I'd imagine that food bill would have been through the roof. 2 questions where you're eating the house down. And for Brian Taylor, BT, he hasn't written in, but I'd imagine he wants to ask this question. What are you bench pressing? Because you are throwing humans out the way every week.
I did do a fair bit of bench press at school, and when I was in year 11 and 12, we had COVID, so I was a boarder, and at boarding school it was like all you can eat buffet. So I was pretty much on a dirty bulk, flat out, going to the gym, getting on the bench every single day. So I got to Essendon, and I don't think I could move sideways, but I was benching about 140. So I've always been pretty strong just off the back of that COVID stuff. But I sort of had to go backwards to go forwards a little bit. I had to get off the bench for a little bit in the first couple of years and learn how to jump and that sort of thing. And
get on the treadmill.
Yeah, a little bit of that. So I'm benching. I think I got up like 153 in the pre-season, but I've had a few knocks to the shoulders and that sort of thing this year. So I'll be lucky to get up about 120 at the moment. So
who's pushing the most?
I would.
There he is, the big boy.
Did you walk in and say, right, who's just benched the most? Yeah, Lukey Ryan, 150. Right, give me 153. Full Fraser Garrick style.
You should have seen the look on Matt Taverner's face when I bench pressed that first day. He was pretty disappointed, the big fella. I think he'd been running the gym for a few
you've just
years.
come in and said, Big Wayne Taverner, I want your number. I'm gonna get them to delist. What's your bench press? I'll take that off you. You can delist you, and I'll be rolling around the forward line. They used to call it the pond. Now they call it the pony. Have a look at that. That is outstanding work from you, Vossy.
Yeah, the Ducks not too happy with it. On the back end of the year, he got in the gym and tried to put up some numbers, but yeah, he was too far gone, I think.
That's amazing. Matty Taberner is a big boy. He's a big boy. Mate, in all seriousness, it's great to see you doing your thing.
Yeah.
The goal you kicked against Essendon was a real highlight for me, just knowing how hard you've worked and how you were there, and then you got to kick a goal against them. Mate, that was special, but it's just awesome to see you and the boys doing great things. I still think Freo can go all the way if you guys just fire up that offense. So continue to win. And, like we said, all the best this week. But that challenge with the goals and the high fives,
fun, brother.
We want to see that just continuing because it's that good watching blokes like you and Pappas just high five and carry on and give great effort. So, mate, all the best. And thank you so much for joining us on the Aces AFL show.
Thanks, lads. There'll be plenty carry on Sunday, I reckon.
Need to get the boys some Rixes too. I tell you what.
I'll send you a little care package coming your way, courtesy of Rix. Don't worry about that,
I'm
Vossy.
sure when the sun comes out, old Vossantino there, that the shirt isn't on too often.
A bit of carry on expected. This is exactly what I wanted when I thought we'd get the two boys on. I think those two would get along like a house on fire. Imagine them two in the same forward line.
Imagine coming up with your own nickname.
Yeah, well.
Or is it the train?
I used to call myself the tea train.
What am I dealing with?
And then we cut the tea off. Mickey Barlow cut the tea off because the G train would have been going. It was a piss take, obviously being a stick man.
Oh,
but
dear.
So when he said that, I thought, I know what he's talking about.
That little swagger, that's got a bit of Fraser Garrick about it. He wandered into most clubs he went to and just said, right, who's got the record? Sweet, 1 kilo more, thanks. Sweet, put my name on the board and off we go.
Go backwards to go forwards. That was a great quote. He's obviously just couldn't move sideways.
I got to Essendon and I was square and I couldn't move sideways. What an absolute weapon.
What a weapon.
Some of the news, and we will touch on it quickly, but Tommy Lynch, that was a big story out of the weekend that was 5-week ban stands. The AFL wanted 5. He was trying to argue down to 3. I think since that, the way he's handled himself has been really good. He fronted up after the game, spoke to Channel 7 and again last night. It's an interesting phase, this part of your career when you're a player, you're going from being the superstar to almost the shift of mindset that I have to become mentor now and more focus on others rather than myself. You would have seen that with some of the guys you played with. And I think for Tom at the minute, this 5-week period, that'll give him that nice chance to reset and probably realign with that because it's a hard thing to do because your pride, everything is about being the best you have to be. But that little shift comes in and we've seen it with Jack Gunston. Sometimes it can be great.
Yeah, certainly. And also, like you see it with, it's pretty obvious, like where they are on the ladder. And when you want to win more flags and whatnot, the reality is you're not going to be able to do that. Yeah. And when you've already done that as well, that would be really frustrating. He's obviously had injuries that have frustrated him.
So that's it. You're trying to work on your body.
There's a lot of things and all that. But like you said, to front the media, like I think the most important thing is Tom would even agree, like it's unacceptable and disappointing. And then he acknowledges it and we move on. But to front the media and also I think he fronted his teammates after the game, it takes a bit of plums to do that instead of hiding. So it is what it is, 5 weeks. Kind of thought it would have been 4 or 5, to be honest, just the look of it. They want to stamp that out. But yeah, you think now, where to for we're mates with Lynchy, but is there an element of, they're a young side. So he's still got, I've seen some reports, but he's still got a lot of juice left. You put him in a forward line with another monster.
Oh, no, just drip.
What's happened to you?
I mean, nose just dropped, which is bizarre.
It is.
I don't even have a sniffly nose. It's just come flying out of it.
Back on task here, back to Lynchy. But a bit like Carlton, right? I'll just bring it up now. But do you think there's an element of, there's a lot of currency still for these superstars, and when you're not getting many entries and look-ins, do you think do you go to another club as an option and get some picks back for Richmond?
Lynchy,
is there something like that?
Won't be going anywhere.
So he'll stay there.
I don't think, and with all due respect to him, I don't think there'd be a whole lot on the open market for him because of his injury record. So I think the role with him at Richmond, saying and he'll get another year. I'm 100% certain of that. The fact
he's the highest paid player in the comp at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, but that's because at the start, when he was in his first couple of years, he took 3/5 of bugger all. So it's just a back-ended contract.
Selfless,
so those numbers that have been floated around this week, and again, as the media sensationalises it, puts it down to a free kick of value each time. Like, piss off, give me a spell. But that shifty mindset, and I had it late in my career, when me and Cade Simpson were down there and we're worried a little bit about our own form, where we're going to fit into the side. And then that shift comes to, right, how can I be almost the coach of this back line on field? And all of a sudden, you're not worried about your own possessions. You're trying to set up. You're working. You're bringing kids in after a goal and saying, "Hey, we got this wrong." All of a sudden, your own form starts to turn around. Form, when you worry about it, tends to go in the wrong direction. When you're just playing with freedom, I think it can certainly add value. Jack Gunston's a perfect example. Come back and he runs all the meetings down there in the forward line. I know that Lynchy's been doing that as well because he's the only bloke over the age of 26, I think it is, in that forward line group that they have across their whole list. So for him, I think that's going to be a good role. And sometimes, although it's a bad way to get here, those little releases of pressure, give yourself a time to reset and go again. It could be a good thing. Paddy Cripps is the one that's been floated around. Geordie Lewis on Fox Footy said that he'd entertain any sort of trade for him, talking Mackay, Curnow, Cripps, like blokes who have a whole lot of value. We know that Graham Wright was ruthless. Adzi Treloar got resold along with a few others.
It's a funny one.
Where do you sit?
Well, there's a big talking point in one of my other WhatsApp groups this week, and I think everyone watching, get in the comments again. This is a good one to get a comment in and let us know what you think. Obviously, we're just going off the back of Geordie Lewis's comments, but if you were to be, let's say Paddy Cripps was a guy they were going to move on. We just had Big Vossy on the line. I just think Fremantle is the perfect place for Cripper if he was to go back home.
Premiership
There's
window.
a premiership window, which is why you play the game. He's already got the 2 Brownlows. And then I'm not in the game of how many picks.
But so if
they have to get a heap of picks. There's all these
players.
Yeah, there's players that would be out of contract there as well. But I think there's opportunities. I reckon you could go. I reckon Fremantle and Paddy Cripps would be one of those ones that when Jordan Lewis said that, we were having a chat, and I said, well, if that was to happen, it's got to be back home. He's got a young family now. And then, West Coast, well, they're grinding, as we know. And then you go to Fremantle, you go, well, they're in the top 6 at the moment, and they could do with another powerful midfielder. So I thought, wow,
Brayshaw,
that would make sense.
Sarong, Bolton, Cripps.
And then you got Luke Jackson, Sean Darcy. That would then solidify your chances for the next.
Third Brownlow. I'll put it. If he ended up at Fremantle with that service, he could win a 3rd Brownlow in the same year as winning a premiership.
Well, you could almost say that maybe Sarong or Brayshaw does because he gets the tag. It just means that they've got what they don't. Last week against St Kilda, but against St Kilda, they locked up the boys.
Yeah,
and Sarong and Brayshaw, they really got going in the last quarter. But if you put Paddy Cripps, you can't lock him. He's too big. He's like Tom Green. You can't really lock him.
So you're Carlton. Are you entertaining, like to the point of you going, hey, Cripper, you're the captain. We love you. What are your thoughts?
Well,
I don't know. I know Cripper. I'm not sure.
As a Carlton fan that would be listening to this, they'd be going, you're off your head, fellas, because he's skipper. I just think, all right, well, Buddy Franklin, he wasn't captain, but he left Hawks when they were flying. That was box office stat trade. So it's not like not everyone is untradeable. And I think if you're going to make a move in your Carlton and you want to get back into a window, they've got to move some players that are like their currency is through the roof.
It's better to do it now than in 2 years' time.
100%. 100%. So when they were talking about that stuff, I just thought,
get in the comments below and leave the self-proclaimed T-Train some feedback there. Because I think they were that'll be, you talk about 50-50, even with Blues fans. Yes, Crip has been unbelievable, but I think there would be a sense of, sure, we'd be happy to see him go and have some success now if it isn't going to be here, because I think even in his own thinking and Blues fans thinking, that's the frustration, is that this was meant to be it. This window was meant to be last year, the year before, this year as well. So
we're only speculating here. Again, these are off the back of Jordan Lewis's comments on his show. But what would be a potential trade package, Daisy, that you'd be happy with if it was Cripps?
Oh,
so if you're Carlton,
if I'm Carlton, I'm wanting the world.
Yeah, and what's the world?
First rounders.
How many? I think how many was Jezza Cameron? Was he 3? So Jezza was 3.
I think you'd have to get at least 2 first rounders, and I'd be packaging up a couple of players that you really want.
Yep.
A very handy player, probably not, you're not going to get one of the superstars, of course, unless that's what they're into. But yeah, a traded gun, couple of first rounders. I think that'd certainly be an interesting conversation.
It's funny, you see this, I know we're talking about AFL, but NBA, NFL, it's just ruthless, the turnover. And AFL, these big names, you don't see a lot of them. This would be
Collingwood.
Big.
So, and Heath Shaw and I, we had a show during this time when Graham Wright was going berserk, and we were rolling out the Simpsons clip of Homer just going, I like you. You're fine. You're safe. You're kind. And it was through because he did. He came in and he just went, bang, you've got to go. We need to free up space here. Bang, you've got to go. So these boys at the top of Carlton, and all the reports are that they've got that large chunk of salary cap. You need to free some of that up and get some depth through the place as well. So these, although at the minute we're hypothesising, and we're not saying any of it is factually correct, these are all things that will be going on in the background at the Blues.
Now, I want to put it back on you here because you've been at the Blues.
Yep.
And you were there when they were struggling a little bit. But you had a coach that had won it all, and you've won one. So you can actually comment because you've been to the top of the mountain. What is it? Like, what do you think it is? Because I personally can't stand when they try to go for the coach. Like, I don't like that at all. I think the coach is the weak answer. Like, you just cut the head off the coach. What, you've just done 3-4 years of a power of work and you want to start again? Like, what's the point of that? You're better off staying loyal. I think I want to remind Carlton fans that I'm not making this up. Like, look at Matty Nix. You all wanted to get rid of him at the Crows. Well, how are they going at the moment? They're flying. It takes time. I think Dimmer was another one as well. I think Nathan Buckley might have even been one where they wanted to get rid of him, and then they made the grand final, and we saw Dom Sheed. Congratulations, mate. He's just retired. But that kick goes to the right or left. He has a premiership around his neck, and he could still be coaching. I think they need a layoff trying to get rid of the head coach. There's other issues. So I want to ask you, what do you think they are? Like, what is it? What do you think it is?
Well, the pressure comes because it's a club that's won the equal most amount of premierships, and they are a side that is, and a club that has been found on the history of the club is high performance, excellence, and winning. That is what the Blues fans from yesteryear, they all know, and coming through. And it's been a large period now since that hasn't been the case. So there's the frustration, and that's where they want change. They want change to bring change, but unfortunately, that hasn't happened. You've rolled through different coaches and the same stuff continues, the similar spots on the ladder. Vossi has got them to prelim finals, into finals. It's there and thereabouts. Added layer of frustration at the minute is the stats that we always speak about, how good they are at getting the ball in forward half, the sides that are around them in that area. So does that, to me, sitting with this the last week especially, going, is the game plan 100% right? And the answer is no, because otherwise they'd be playing football and execute. So the game plan has to be a game plan that holds up in finals, has to be able to be executed week in, week out. And that's the issue for me at the minute, is the players can't do that. Because 90% of it, as I said, is there. That's the back half to the forward 50. But 90% doesn't get you a goal. And that's the issue with them right now. The fans are frustrated because they demand more and they should expect more. That's what happens when you play for a big club. There's not a whole lot of stability, I don't think, from the top down, from board level, president, CEO, all of that. And there is some change coming in that area. So this is an opportunity for the Blues now. They sit in not the worst spot considering how bad they've, 11th on the ladder. There's worse places to be right down the bottom, but they get to take the sieve out, sort a bit of the shit and hopefully come up with a plan a little bit like Richmond did and said, right, this is in 5 years, in 10 years, what we want to do, and this is the road we're on. And if that's the case, well, potentially then Paddy Cripps isn't an option to move because he wants to be the one at the front of it.
Yeah, well said. Well, here's some, stats for everyone that wants to know how Carlton have gone in the past. So Malthouse era, 2013, 8th semi-final, 2014, 13th, 2015, 18th sacked. Bolton comes in, 2016, 14th, 2017, 16th, 2018, 18th. Teague era, 2019, he went 16th, improvement in 2020 to 11th, and then back to 13th in 2021. And then in comes Voss, 2022, 9th, 2023, 5th, but prelim final.
Yep.
2024, 8th elimination final. And then this year, they're 11th with 6 wins and 9 losses.
Well, last year, though, and this is the frustration. So the trend that's gone from midpoint last year when they were second on the ladder, got into finals, they limped in, they lost to the Saints at Marvel, had to wait for another game, and then were beaten 10 goals to zip at quarter time or whatever it was in that Brisbane game. And then the continuation. So that first block you speak of is great, but the most recent form, and that's where we do put our blinkers on in the industry and go, right, what is happening? That isn't good enough for where that trajectory should be, because everyone thinks we've got the list, you go through it, this is our window. The window closes pretty quickly with the evenness of the competition. If it's not now, when? And there's a sense of that with Blues fans.
I just think they lack a bit of speed. Like they don't have enough quick players around the ball.
Distributors and
like
speed.
even Zach Williams,
Point of
right?
difference.
Zach Williams, why is he not playing on ball? Like you're playing him forward, back, put him on ball.
His body at the minute. And
I know, but like,
I would have loved to have seen him if he was fit and firing. And again,
but if he's out there playing, I know. So Jagger Smith will come in next year. They'll have a little bit of that. But if you're in the like a Neil Bullen, right? Alex Neil Bullen, people don't realise the importance of players that play half forward like him. They put on immense pressure. They're quick. And they can use the ball, right? And there's same like Isaac Cumming. He goes to Adelaide. James Peatling. These guys, they're quick. They're good users. And they can play a serious role. And then you can allow your spine to get to work. I think they need to find 4 or 5 that can kick and have a lot of speed and can spread, because it feels like that's where they're getting done a little bit.
They're going to be the biggest story of the off-season, because there will be so much movement, in my opinion. I don't think that will be the coach. I think it'd
Can't be the coach.
I think they should be backing in Vossi and putting some different looks around him and coming up with a plan that everyone's on board from, but they'll be a big watch with player movement, and then also just the lead into next year. And I can't believe we're talking about next year already, and it's round 16.
I know. It's there's a lot going on. Righto, couple more. Jordan De Goey's been concussed at training. That was crazy. Haven't seen much of that before. How do you manage him from here quickly? Do you just let him have a spell, save him for finals?
Dramas. It was Rosie Maynard's hip
so
also. No.
All good, just a little hit.
He'll be right.
There you go. Tommy Mitchell, does he get one last crack? Still sidelined him. He's under the weather with illness, apparently.
Yeah, they've brought in a debutant who will be playing. Tommy Mitchell, he'll be thereabouts. And you can't, I said this last night, you've got to value those players that go in and put their head in the trough. You know you can trust them in the contest, in finals especially. Plus this wet period, this hard July month. It's when you need some of those players in their play on the field to save some of the stars for September.
And Hawks, they get another little blow. Josh Weddle has a back stress issue. Geez,
so you loved Weddle. He was playing everywhere.
Him and Day are very important.
Geez, there's a couple of big outs.
Yeah.
Are they? I think if they're both in the side, your confidence level for them making prelims would be a lot higher.
Mm-hmm.
Are they now very vulnerable because of that?
I mean, how do you get a read on North Melbourne? I mean, the boys at North, they are very hard to predict. I love North, you know that. I actually tipped them the other week against Carlton, but then they go out and get blown out the water by Hawthorn by I don't know how many points was it. It was ridiculous. And again, another shout out to Gunston for those sausage rolls. 7 goals. He is. I think
85 points. You could have the margin.
That's just crazy. So 85 points is just a lack of a lot of things, especially after a win. You think maybe we can go down to Tassie and compete. Anyway, let's keep moving. One update on Port Arlington. We have a set date.
The Muscles,
as Wal would call them, the 17th of July. We're going to go down there. And I think you're away that week.
Yeah, I'm up in Hamilton
Port Douglas
Island.
or something like that, Hamilton Island. But we're going to have a few people down there.
Good.
We'll give more details. There's a lot of details on this, because one thing we said to them is if the weather's putrid, we'll do it the week after.
Right.
But the date at the moment is the 17th, so that's where that footy club, Port Arlington and Mitchie, will have a chance to kick for all that cash and get it back after Charlie Curno's calf was a little bit sore against West Coast. Then he plays the next 2 weeks, Daisy.
Yes, not ideal, Thomas, not ideal at all. Do you want to move along to game preview, Statmate, or the graveyard?
Let's move into this week's games. And as we do that, I'm just going to put our friends at Harcourt Football Netball Club onto the graveyard, because we've really stitched them up with our mulligan. We've been pretty hot, but we've let them down. But thank you to you guys for tuning in and having a crack at the Propeller. Daisy, preview this week. What do you got?
Well, we're going to start off with Thursday night footy. It's North taking on the Western Bulldogs under the lid. A big celebration for North Melbourne. So well done to them and their football club. They need to respond. As you just said, they were pooch after a good 5-week block. The win against Carlton, a 6-point loss to Freo, 10-point win against West Coast, chucking a loss to Collingwood in there, and then they beat with the Richmond Footy Club by 4 points on the other side. They need to get back to that, but it is a tough ask because the Western Bulldogs are absolutely humming, the second most disposal rate in the competition. They have the only side in the competition as we speak that are averaging more than 100 points per game, 4, and they're now becoming a good defensive side as well. So it's very hard, and that's the reason why North Melbourne go up here, rank outsiders. Statmate got any love for us here?
They always have a little bit of love for us. But before we go to Statmate, which they are our best mate, we need to give our other mate a big shout out, Tommy Liberatoro's 250th. So I noticed Tommy was he was running down someone last week in the black boots.
Yeah,
I think we might need to get him back on and get the white boots on because he looks quicker in the white.
He looks a lot quicker in the white. I can't believe I suggested the black and then saw him run and went, so apologies there, Libba. But that is a game that they should just be going on to win. And these are the ones when we talk about them being a chance to be playing in the top 4, and they were on the 4th line of betting with PointsBet when they were sitting outside of the 8 on the ladder. That's the reason, because they get North Melbourne, they've got Essendon, Melbourne, West Coast on the way home outside some hard games. These are the ones they should just be putting away and boosting that percentage.
We mentioned Statmate is your best mate when it comes to building a multi or arming yourself with everything you need to know about the game of footy. So download it now in the App Store if you haven't. But Aaron Norton has kicked 2+ goals in all of his last 5 versus North Melbourne and 14 in total. That's 5, 2, 2, 2 and 3. Aaron Norton is red hot as well. He kicked 3 last week. Him and Darcy kicked 3 each in the first half and then didn't kick another goal in the second half. They weren't required. But the other one for North, if you want to have a little cheeky go there in your multi, Paul Curtis has kicked 2+ goals in 4 of his 5 matches at Marvel this season. 3, 3, 2, 3, and 1. Paul Curtis might be someone I need to look at. I've already
had him the other day for 2.
I've already locked in. The only problem with doing the Propeller, I don't like going Thursday, so I'm going to stay away from that. But that would be my second preference this week on the Propeller. There's some good little ones there from Statmate.
Yep.
Let's move to the next game, though, because I'm sick of talking about North until they go back-to-back for me with effort. This game's the biggest game of the round for different reasons, like Carlton versus Collingwood. This is the Daisy Cup.
It is.
And we need to, I know we've already spoken about Carlton and all the, these hypotheticals, but there's always this ridiculous thing in my mind. You talk about feel. Is there a chance Carlton can just pull a rabbit out of a hat, Daisy? Because it's, we did see West Coast and Collingwood are flying, but I just, sometimes they need an upset. And I'm looking at this week's rounds. I'm just feeling it, but there's just everyone's favourites. So there's got to be an upset. Are we going to see it on Friday night?
It didn't happen last week with all the favourites.
Yes, I would do.
And this is why our game is so beautiful, because you go on form, it's Collingwood by how far. You take all the other factors in, emotion, pride, what's on the line, personal, want to be better, desire, all these things. And that's just not from Carlton's side. That is also from the Collingwood side because, I've walked both sides of this line. Collingwood fans will be expecting their side to come out and be 10 goals up at halftime and piling on as much pain as possible for the entirety of 100 minutes, and they would get no greater satisfaction, Thomas, believe you me. And Blues fans, well, if they go and their side can mount an effort, come from behind or lead and win and fall in, my goodness, the roar at the MCG would be unbelievable, and it almost just buys a bit of time. Everyone can go, well, where has this effort been? However, you beat Collingwood. Nobody gives really too many shits for the rest of the year because you're not playing finals, and that's just a big tick. It's massive. I said last week I'd be disappointed in the first couple of minutes against Port Adelaide if they didn't go out and make a stance. They were soft. They were passive. They were all the things you don't want to be spoken about in that manner, and they didn't fire a shot, and they got blown off the park. Where is the dog in them? That's what I want to know. Where is it? Because you can't just roll out in this game and shake hands and play nicely and expect to win. You've got to be willing to go the extra bit that the opposition isn't. And last week, Carlton certainly weren't that. It was Port Adelaide who were happy just to slap them around the park. This week, I expect a statement early, and I think it has to come from one of the leaders and it has to be around the entire team. But I'm going after the best player if I'm the Blues. I'm walking to Nick Dacos, and I didn't get it last week, but I'm letting him know that as a team, we are making this game bloody tough for you. Might not mean you get the win, but at least you stand for something.
Oh, geez, Daisy, you are I'm ready to run through a brick wall.
Bit like when Papa spoke, I wasn't I wasn't really planning it. You walk out on the ground, and I used to, you sit, let's look at someone there, look at you. The fuck are you looking at? You sit into them. And you just get going, and you start the game.
Hayden Ballantyne was a bit like that for us. He just walks up to their key backs. Yeah.
You have to get going into the game. You can't play it nice. And at the moment, if you play nice, you end up, what happens? So I can't wait for it because of both of those reasons. The bigger picture, the game, it's going to be an awesome Friday night.
It's going to be fascinating. Even the line from PointsBet at 27.5.
See, I thought that'd be north of 40.
Well, so it should be 50 off the back of the last few weeks, but they know that maybe they're going to have a little bit of dog in them this week. Do you think Hewitt goes to Dacos? Because it's a different player. Like Dacos is very quick. He's almost untaggable. There's a team approach.
Yeah.
You need a bit of speed on him.
I don't think that'd be
the matchup.
Pendlebury would be a good matchup for you, but a lot of the times Pendles goes to Cripper.
Yeah.
So that's a matchup that
Cripper was a bit sick last week, so you'll see a better performance there.
And they had a 5-day break or bugger all, so they'll be better. There will be, spots to look at everywhere.
Tell you what, you fired me up.
You're ready to go.
Friday night, 7:20. This is one of the biggest games of the year for a fan. Like a fan, as you said, it's like Anzac Day for Essendon fans. But if the Blues can beat the Pies, there's going to be a lot of frustration. But there's also going to be like, we'll give Vossy 3 weeks, and all those guys that are and ladies that are having a go at Vossy and the club, they'll just probably take the foot off a little bit, and they'll say, "Well, we're pretty happy with that one." Lygon Street will be celebrating like it's a prelim.
Though. You need to speak about why they're so irate, the fans, and what they want, because they love these games. They go and they win them. They find a way against the arch enemy, and it means more than just football. So I cannot wait for it. And the end of it, whatever happens in that last 5 minutes, look out because it's going to be special.
It might have been a good game to target for the Propeller, but I haven't I keep hyping the Propeller, but there's a lot of little juicy things in there.
Pox games as well.
There are some Pox games.
You got some stat mate for me in this one.
Nick Dacos averages 28.4 disposals in his last 5 against Carlton.
Seems low.
Yeah, a little bit low. 27, 28, 32, 28, 27. Sam Doherty's averaging 27.8 disposals in his last 5 matches versus Collingwood. 31, 29, 34, 18, 27. But George Hewitt is the one that I like the most. He's had 25 disposals in all of his 7 matches at the G in 2025.
Okay.
25, 28, 29, 29, 26, 29, 31. So I really like that one out of StatMate's ones there. But again, there's a few more there. Check out the StatMate app. It's your best mate when you're arming yourself with everything you need to know about the game of footy. Mate, there's one more game that's on Friday night. What's the go with these overlap games? The AFL, do they know that as footy fans, we love watching all the games in every quarter? Like, it's very hard to understand on a Sunday, there's 2 games and I'm watching an overlap. There's a quarter and a half to go and I've got to bloody miss the first quarter and a half of the next game. Daisy, how can you not just push one forward? No one wants to go to the footy on the Sunday anyway, so just push it forward. I mean, Adelaide-Richmond, that should have been starting at 1, and then the next game we can have all eyes on St Kilda Fremantle, but we have it again. The Giants are heading west and they're going to be taking on...
Is this a danger game?
It is a danger game because of what West Coast did last week. The reason I say danger game, I've got a little... I put a little same game multi up on PointsBet app, and the reason I have GWS at 1-39, I think that's just a great bet because they're on the road, off the bye. West Coast momentum's pretty strong. So if you go to the PointsBet app, tell me what you think of this, mate. I've got a little... all you got to do is click on the app, and then when it has same game multi, click quick same game multi, and you'll see Tommy Sheridan's American Aces same game multi. Ready?
Yep.
Greater Western Sydney 1-39. Liam Baker 25 plus. The ball will be in the back half. Tom Green 30 plus. They don't really tag. And Aaron Cadman 3 plus.
Like it.
That gives you $19.
Hang on.
$19.
Bear with me.
Yes, bear with you. Daisy's placing that little bet. So that's my little special there for Friday night. That game will start at 8:20 Australian Eastern Standard Time.
It's the top 9 better than bottom 9. Like for the competition that was meant to be grouse and, it was going to be as close as ever. There's not a whole lot of good footy.
You know what makes me laugh? You saying that, and we're going to clip that up next week, and all these games will come down to a kick.
I'll give you roll through the games.
Oh, we'll roll through the rest of them. So we've got Essendon.
No, I'll give you the margin in Western Bulldogs North. North won't get within 30.
Quick games, Collingwood, Carlton.
4 goals or more to the Pies. 6 goals or more the Giants. 2 goals or more the Suns, 8 goals or more the Cats, 5 goals or more the Lions, 6 goals the Hawks. I'll take Freo. I'll give you an upset there, and I think Adelaide can comfortably smack on some heat against the D's and be 6 or more.
I like the Sunday slate though. I like Sydney. Let's skip all those other games.
They're the better games. There's a little bit of.
What are we missing here? Why are Fremantle outsiders on the road?
Yeah, recent.
I would have thought
history.
the weather in Sydney would suit them. That contested brand of footy.
Yeah, it's gone. So Fremantle's gone loss, win, loss in their last 3 against them. It's probably the fact that Sydney have been more competitive in the last couple of weeks. But again, I agree with you. I think the fact that head-to-head and then you can have a little bit of safety at the line there with Fremantle, I think that's a really nice bet. The weather's going to be an issue, but I don't think that, again, plays too much into Sydney's favour. Fremantle love the contested pill. We saw against the Giants. When the game was open and free-flowing, Giants were everywhere. They got in the contest. Freo go on and win it. So that could be some value there.
Did you see, this is one of my favourite things last week out of the game, Big Tracy's rundown tackle on Mars.
Yeah.
That is enormous effort.
He loved it
You
too.
don't see many full forwards doing that. Tell me
Nah.
a full forward that puts in that amount of effort and that chase down and actually nails it. I can't remember one.
I probably couldn't tell you one.
I think if you are a Fremantle fan and you see the big kahuna doing that,
You're not
it's
meant
amazing.
to be chasing, mate.
I know, but if you can finish the job, that was awesome. I was like, if I was the coach at the club and you're doing your trademark meeting, you're just going, boys, one clip, have a look at this.
Yeah.
This is what will win us a premiership if we all
I can't
do
believe
this
how
stuff.
young he is.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
he's
crazy to think that he wasn't
incredible. His
drafted
upside's going to be phenomenal. So
Well, there you go, Daisy. There's a fair preview there from you. We've skipped over a few games,
good.
but that's because a lot of them are a bit of peachy. I think Brisbane Port could be somewhat competitive at the Gabba. But, mate, it's probably time to talk about our propeller bets before we get to some questions from the aces on YouTube. All right, Daisy, it's time to lock in. It's the profit propeller time. And it's the first time we haven't had Wall to do this. So
could be the start of something.
well, I'm starting to think, who's holding the board? We might need Morgs, our man behind the cameras here. This might be our little good luck charm.
But
Wall sent something in though.
He has. So before we have a look at it, just think of E.T. Play.
Here we go. Play the footage.
Hi all, absolutely hurting currently. I've got the flu. Unfortunately, it's knocked me out and I haven't been on the pod today, but that won't stop the profit propeller. I'm going for Hawks 1-39. It's under the roof at Marvel. Saints always defend well there, but I think they're going to be too strong and that will definitely get up. So the Hawks 1-39. All the best for the other bets. Let's bring it home this weekend.
Oh my Lord, he looks like he's in a world of strife.
He's either one of the great actors or he hasn't had food or fluid for the best part of 48 hours.
He has a bit of Matt McConaughey about him, doesn't he?
E.T. Just put him in the front of your push bike in a milk crate and off you go.
A bit of E.T. is rough as guts. That is amazing.
So he's gone Hawks 1-39.
Hawks 1-39 under the lid there against the Saints, who do tend to play a defensive brand. That might be not a bad bet.
What have you gone with?
I have gone to the Gabba. I've thought about, all these other options, but I wanted to leave Thursday, Friday. I wanted to give us some time. I'm going to go to our man, Charlie Cameron. It's time
Country
to take
road
it home.
time.
That's right. And 2 goals. Hopefully it's good weather up there. I'm trying to avoid. I'm trying to avoid these games in Melbourne because you know what it's like outside at the moment. It's freezing and it's wet, so that means that sometimes the goals are hard to find. So Charlie Cameron, I reckon 2 sausage rolls. I'll put him through there, and I'm going to pray that he gets one early because when he kicks one early, he generally kicks 3 or 4. So that is mine. Now, Daisy, what is yours?
Well, I'm going to the last game of the round, which I didn't realise when I was sort of
you're
just...
going to put the whole world on your back.
Well, I got 3rd v 14th, Adelaide taking on Melbourne. I'm picking my own line again. I think this has been a really good way for me to get involved because the disposal market's too fluky. Same with the goals. I wasn't seeing them there. I'm decent enough, I believe, at picking the form. I think they're, Adelaide Oval against Melbourne, 28 points. So they need to win by 5 or more goals. They're scoring for fun at the minute. They defend really well. They'll spread the field. I think that is very nice. And again, just the $2 even. It was close enough with West Coast. I know that, with Western Bulldogs. That doesn't mean anything. But so I'm going with the Crom 28 or more.
You're loving the line bets at the
Pick
moment.
your
aren't
own
you?
line, mate. Honestly, I should be the ambassador for that.
The points bet,
Put me-
pick your own
just
line.
put-
Just have Daisy's head as the
just
thing
my
that
head.
you move
Just
on the
move
line.
a daisy.
Well, yeah, that's going to be exciting because that means we can't relax. Because sometimes you're up by 40, but then they make a couple of subs late. So, Daisy, you're going to make our sphincters a little bit tight.
A little bit
watching
of
that one there.
pulsating or puckering, I think is the two adjectives we both
Oh, now it's time to probably pick the club that's going to be up. And this week, again, 3 weeks ago, we went so hard at introducing who's on the wheel, they thought they were actually going to chance at the Propeller. So I'll do it subtly. We've got Ferntree Gully Eagles Football Netball Club.
Yes,
So congratulations.
You have a chance. I'll spin you up.
You have a chance. So you're entering the Propeller, but I couldn't believe how hard we went. And we're going to give you guys a shot. So remember, there's a few clubs up there that have been there from the start. Let's give this. I think we're going to need legally. I need Morgs to come up here and hold it while you spin it. Yes. So this is going to be Morgs. Welcome to the set. So Morgs, hold it really sturdy and make sure you're out of the way. He's got Blues man. Oh, Jesus. He's had they'll have a look at Daisy. He can give you. Do you want to sign that, Daisy? A quick little Daisy, not while the propeller's on. Oh, this might be the new trend. Just signing a photo of himself and handing it to our man Morgs. If you're listening, have a go at this. That is outstanding work. Geez, you haven't just given it the signature. You've given it the full message. Oh, there we go. The propeller's off to a good start. Righto. If you're watching, you'll know what's going on. If you're listening, there's a lot of carry on. Righto. Here we go. Round 17, Daisy. Give it a big spin. No wall, no worries. Morgs is on the set. Here we go. It's off and running. The Propeller. Round 17. The winner is going to be the... Oh, Ferntree Gully. There you go. The Eagles. I can't believe the Jets have missed out again. The Greenvale Jets have missed out 3 weeks in a row. Ferntree Gully Eagles. Sit down, Daisy. That is enormous. I've got the sheet in front of me with all the clubs. I'm going to have to give you a ring. I've got to, gee whiz, whoever printed this has given me no chance at looking at it. It's that small. That is outstanding stuff. So thanks for that, Morgs. That was awesome. Great spin. Can you believe that? 1 week. Wow. There's a lot of clubs that'll be fuming with that. We've got the Colts, we've got the Jets, there's a few others. They've been there from the start and they can't get a look in. The Jets next door. But Ferntree Gully, there you go, the Eagles. I'm going to call the president or the representative. And this, geez, it'd be nice to hit one. It'd be nice to hit one.
Well, look, I feel like we're due. And like all things in life, patience is a virtue. Good things come to those who wait. Do you want anything other wisdom?
Call. All right, couple of questions from our valuable viewers, watchers, listeners, aces out there. And again, we generally mean this. I go on YouTube and nothing makes me happier than when I look at the comments and it's gone from 8 to 12 to 20.
We'll
then
have
this
to do
week,
a
31.
live one night. We'll have to watch the footy live.
We're going to give away some really big prizes. And the people in these comments will be the one that...
still bringing in the $1 million to give away?
I think Wal needs to bring some cash in for missing this app. I think his briefcase is actually just behind there. Hopefully he's left something in. But let's go to a couple of questions before we close the show, Daisy. Here we go. I've asked twice and I'll ask again. So we've obviously missed Benny Woodburn's question here. But where the fuck is the pig? He said he'd be back on as a guest. Haven't heard of him since this first episode. It's pooch stuff, lads.
I told you they've been asking for the pig. I'm not sure. You're the pig's man. I've been everywhere. I've been in the sty. Haven't found him there. Not sure.
We actually had dinner at me, Pig, Griffin Lowe, Dion Prestia, Elliott, and Roquan Smith. So the pig's going well. But as I said, he's got the...
Your Tommy talks with Big Roquan. He gave it the big... about the backup quarterback, and then he just showed the vision of him absolutely shit mixing someone, and just the grin on his face. He's a bad man.
I don't think people realise how bad and how big and how good he is.
Mate,
he's a number one linebacker in the NFL.
He was so unassuming, just the most polite, lovely guy, and then you watch that and go, okay, he just killed someone. What else? What more?
Chris Colombo, lads, love the work. Keep showing up. Got one for you I would love to bring up. Instead of a wild card end of the year, when we would like to have an all-star with players from the bottom 8 that haven't made the finals, still get pretty good players running around and won't affect clubs too much. If someone gets injured, what's your thoughts?
I don't mind it. I also like the idea of a skills challenge. Don't worry about the grand final sprint. A skills challenge on the MCG, your most skillful player playing for one big prize. Like torp, pocket, anything that,
Goal kicking comp, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Back to Chris's question, though.
Chris, my idea was
Chris
better than yours.
absolutely
No, I
donuts
like
there.
it, Chris. Though I can't remember what you said because I was thinking about telling my own story, but it was pretty good. We appreciate your feedback.
There you go. A bit like Daisy when he's at the Blues, just thinking about how many cheapies he can get in the back pocket when you
Me
guys
and Kate Simpson and Nick Newman wrestling for the kick out.
I personally don't mind it, but when it's the bottom 8 sides or 9 sides there, King, it wouldn't be as good as the top 9. So I think
really?
if you want me to be honest, I reckon I'd pass on that concept.
Would you like my idea or Christoph's?
I think yours is good, but it needs to be grand final eve or day. It can't be that bye week.
No, half time, I said.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Thanks for listening.
One more. Each week, give us your top 2 songs or movies or shows that you are listening or watching at the moment, boys,
good.
around town. That one's from Yana Perry.
Yana
Want to pump
Pittman.
your golf show up? That's happening soon.
I will be tuning in to one of the great shows coming to Channel 7, mate, this Saturday, 1:30, teeing off with Daisy Thomas. So apart from that great golf show, what are you watching?
I watched the rat race last night. Have you seen that one?
Hang on, if you're sitting there and you're punting on rats racing, I could not be more impressed.
I'm not punting on rats racing. It's a movie.
I'll go. If you've got a rat to race, I'll go and get one and I'll train it up and I'm ready to go.
Oh, imagine punting on a rat race. No, it's the actual movie. Mr. Bean features. I watched that last night. That was a classic. But the one that I'll say to the great man, Yana Perry, is Happy Gilmore 2 is around the corner. Ooh. So what are we watching? Well, I'm not watching that yet, but I can't wait to watch that one. But good question. Maybe we can incorporate that.
There's a good show on Disney Plus with Owen Wilson, a golf-related one. Can't remember the name of it, but I'm watching that also.
Well, that has been a great show, mate. And
well done, Tommy.
I must say, it's been great to. It's been sad not having the wall here, but you have
terrific,
stepped up to the plate.
It's been
Your
unreal.
pep talk for the Daisy Cup has just got goosebumps.
Go!
And I'm excited for this week's footy games. Let's get the propeller home. Again, thank you to everyone that tunes in. We appreciate you. Get in the comments. 31's the record for this show.
50.
Can we get to 50?
We can get to 50.
Just
we
tell
rely
us
on
what
you.
want more of. We're relying on you.
Something.
Daisy, give him a little bit more pep talk.
I want to see you get in the comments because it requires no talent. You just got to watch it. And if you watch it, give some feedback. Press the button. Be involved. We want team members. We want reliable team members. And one comment, we stack them up like effort. And if we do that, we get the result. Into them!
There you go. See you next week, too. Thank you. Bye.
You need your bodyguard to be quick. And gas is as quick as they come. Still, he's not as quick as a PointsBet app where I can place my same game multi before he's had a chance to even... We'll call that a draw.
It's never been quicker to piece together an AFL same-game multi with PointsBet.
Memories.
PointsBet. Built different. What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.